Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you for joining me here today. We're looking at KDA, and no, that doesn't stand for Kill Death Average if you're a first-person shooter fan. This stands for Kadena. And this coin was a recommendation from one of my community members. Thank you very much, Gretchen, for requesting that I cover this here, of course. I do appreciate all of my patrons, and if you're not currently one, feel free to consider taking a look down below in the description for my instructive video so you understand what that entails. I basically send out trade signals for every single trade that I take. It's a trading community. Everyone is having a great experience. So jump on along. Be happy to join the fun. All right, so check that out in your own time. Moving forward, let's take a look at Bitcoin first, get a baseline on the market, because any good trader is going to look at Bitcoin first, so they know exactly what's going on, right? If you don't know what Bitcoin's doing, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, right? I feel a good trader will look at that. So taking a look here, just quickly, jump into the 1 hour chart here so you can kind of see we've got a couple of descending, breakout patterns here that happened three times in a row essentially. Just recently it occurred again, but the problem is it's hitting the ceiling at about 65,000. Correction, I said that earlier, 62,500. So 62.5 is the resistance level here at this point. Just bear in mind we have a major resistance right at about 63,500 as well. So not much more to the ceiling before we break its all-time high here for Bitcoin. But just keep that in mind. That's roughly where we're at right now. Also keep in mind too, we have news coming out tomorrow with Bitto, which is the ticker symbol for the cryptocurrency exchange traded fund now in the US stock market, right? So that is an interesting aspect. That's the first time ever. But oftentimes, you buy the hype and sell the news. We have a bunch of hype here recently. Tomorrow is news day. So just keep that in mind. We keep getting rejected out this resistance level. Tomorrow's the news. Perhaps a good short-arming opportunity. You never know. That being said, that's where Bitcoin's at right now. But all in all, good shape for Bitcoin, even though it's going all but sideways for the moment. Now, KDA. Take a look at Kadena. This is a 1 day chart. Let's go ahead and take a quick jump into, of course, we've got the 50-day and 200-day simple moving average, both working as potential support levels. Haven't been tested yet, but if they were to, we'll find out soon. Those are typically referred to as support levels, at least when the price is increasing, and it kind of pushes the price up. As you can kind of see, we got this, this ascending pattern forming concurrent with the 50-day simple moving average. That pretty much happens a lot. Bear in mind too, price is up over 70 on the RSI, which isn't bad nor good. I prefer it to be under 70, but with this increase here today, it makes perfect sense. Also, furthermore, note here, we didn't really even have a convergence on the MACD. It just kept on staying above. So no divergence. There was no chance for the price to retrace. It just kept going up and up and up. So we'll see here soon what that means, but taking a look at the smaller time frames will be able to help us identify that. And this is awesome too, because I like the 4 hour chart myself personally. If I were to pick a one time frame to rule them all, the 4 hour chart would be my favorite, just based on the fact you can get a lot of good information from it. The simple moving averages are very effective too. So the 200 and the 50-day simple moving averages, you can see they're both working as progressive support levels. Price is over both, which is fantastic. That's pretty standard as well. RSI is over 70 here too, also very normal. And we had a recent convergence on the MACD. Now, all things considered, this is pretty standard stuff, right? There's not much to disseminate. We can probably look at smaller time frame to identify. I'm going to quickly mark the 4 hour convergence on the MACD on the chart to kind of see roughly how that communicates with the Ichimoku cloud. Because if you're new to the channel, I love the Ichimoku cloud. It's like my second favorite indicator for swing trading. Obviously, the MACD convergence is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is the Ichimoku cloud. If we take a look at the cloud here, you can see right as soon as we got the MACD convergence on the 4 hour chart, the price broke above the cloud. So if you're going to do yourself ever a favor, right? Obviously look at Bitcoin before you invest. That's step number 1. I teach that to all my patrons. Foundation right there. But once you understand what Bitcoin's doing, we can tell that, we got bullish momentum with Bitcoin. Something like this will be likely to take off, right? So if you got those complementing factors, and then you look at the chart and you see on the 4 hour chart, hey, we just had a convergence on the MACD. I'm going to check the 1 hour chart and see what the Ichimoku cloud is telling me. Price just broke above the cloud. And if you're new to the channel, or just trading in general, you have never heard of the Ichimoku cloud, get on board. Awesome indicator. It's just referred to as Ichimoku. You disable the first 5 indicators because it's very noisy when you first enable it. You just leave the plots background on. Gives you an understanding of kind of where the price is going to go. But more importantly, if the price breaks above the cloud, consider a buy signal. When it's below, it's considered a sell. Therefore, right here, not in maybe 1 to 3 hours later, as soon as the 4 hour chart notified us that we have a breakout for the actual MACD convergence. In other words, the bears are losing control, the bulls are taking control. We had that shift in momentum. The Ichimoku cloud also identified that. Now keep in mind, these don't always identify them concurrently. They don't always work synonymously. Sometimes they're either off or not signaling both. But I can tell you, if you want like a good positive affirmation of the fact that you're moving in the right direction or you're investing at the right time, when you have both of these things here, I commonly refer to it as a double rainbow, you'll see that happen where the price continues upwards, right? Because again, the bears lost control, they're conceding, the bulls are taking control, we got a bullish momentum from Bitcoin, all good things here factoring in, and it pushes the price up even further. So had you just say taken that and just say you had set like an alert and you set it to Ichimoku to pass the lead 1 or lead 2, you would have got a notification telling you that, right? I have that set up all the time, so I get signals I send to my community members where I actually have really cool signals that come up at random. I have no idea when it's going to happen, but when it does, I'm excited to share this. And what this would do, this is what, 29%. So you'd be, okay, maybe more so 25. All right, right to where the price is at right now, 27%. Again, it's hard to just find these things. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's every single day, like just bing, 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 getting all sorts of notifications. But if you find a coin that you like and you're like, hey, I want to invest in this one, I need to find the right time. This doesn't match all my requirements, my prerequisites. These are the prerequisites I look for, okay? So just bear that in mind. That's just something I try to look at. So obviously I can see why it's moving there. This tells us we have a continuous, nice bullish pattern. What we're going to look at next is how much longer we have left on this little trend here, right? Because TD sequential, keep in mind, trend is your friend, right? So you want to get on board with that. If we can identify how much longer you have in that trend, it's really helpful to get an idea of when you probably should get out or how much longer you should hold on to. And what I'm getting at here is if you look at the TD sequential, if you're new to TD sequential, what it does, it takes the 4th previous candlestick, and if it's higher than the current one, then it counts up from 1 to 9. When it gets to 9, it retraces, it doesn't always retrace. That number resets essentially, and it kind of just stops counting until we have that 4th previous candlestick higher or lower. That being said, we're at a 6 right now. Therefore, we have a possibility of 3 more hours of bullish momentum as a continuation to the upside. Now, is this 100%? Not always, no. But it does happen more often than not, you'll see when you get a reset, there's a turnaround. But just keep this in mind. In this scenario here, we see a 1 all the way through to 9 here. It consolidated for only about 2 or 3 hours, and then it kept going up again, right? So that just tells me there's probably a lot of volume, a lot of volatility here in this case, and KDA is essentially taking off. So it's one of those coins that's starting to continue to ramp up, and you always got to look out for this. When you have coins that beat their all-time high, I try to teach this to my patrons too. When you have a coin that beats its all-time high, that's the more likely than not, it's going to just continue to push really hard to the upside. Okay. In other words, I would rather take a coin that is closer to its all-time high, that's going to break its all-time high, than one that's that much further away from it. Because yes, the argument could be made that, hey, I want to be able to get a 2, 3, 4x. Buy at the bottom, sell really high at the top, closer to its all-time high. Doesn't always work out that way. More often than not, prices that break above the previous all-time high, like we're seeing here right now, at least I believe so. Yeah, it looks like that's the all-time high that it broke here fairly recent. Then it's just going to continue to increase. I mean, you saw Solana before, you saw the Cardano. They have a tendency to just taking off. So go ahead and mark some support and resistance levels and call it a day here, and then go ahead and give you predictions. So $1.70 is approximately the support level here, obviously, for that. What we can do as well is take a look here. See, obviously there's a resistance at about 235. And for now, this one-day candlestick is soon to close. We got about 2 minutes left until 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll mark that as well. So ultimately, the price will probably consolidate somewhere in this range here. We could see another leg up, but I'm going to estimate that we're going to probably see somewhat of a dip before the next leg up. And the reason why I say that is because we have a history here, right? Look at this. Decrease and then an increase, right? It's making higher highs, fantastic, right? Making higher lows. But if this high gets too high, we're going to have a lower low and a lower high, and then it'll start to retrace and come back down. We don't want that. We want this to consolidate and go sideways for a little bit and to essentially become a healthy bull run. Not that it's unhealthy now, it's actually doing very well, because if you look at the big picture here, you can kind of see that we have some nice movement, right? Some nice higher highs, some nice lower lows. So all in all, I like where this is going. I feel like it's going to continue to progress upwards, but I feel like we're probably going to see maybe another hour or two worth of increase. I think we're going to see somewhat of a retracement because this is the first large increase that this has had so far. And if you look at all the candlesticks, they all have somewhat, fairly long wicks when they have a big extension after the previous. So my speculation here is we're probably going to see the price consolidate here. In fact, we can go ahead and pull up a little Fibonacci here and kind of get a quick estimate of where we're going to get some support and resistance levels. As we can see, that support right there is already established. We go ahead and just draw this out. The price retraces, it may come down to about 276. And the second major resistance level would be about 254. So I'm going to speculate the price is going to spend some time in between one of these three channels. I know it's kind of a big range, but the bottom line here is that it needs time to consolidate before we see the next leg up. And actually here, if you want to see the next leg up and how high it might go, there's a strong chance we might see 392 within about a 1 month period. Okay, that's, in other words, that's I would say the highest we should see in this little run, based on the fact that it's already gone that much in this short amount of time. I think the likelihood of it going that much higher is pretty low, if that makes any sense. In other words, we need to see some consolidation, because if it comes all the way back up, if it comes all the way up to just say $4, it's going to come way back down to where it started. There's no other way around it. But if it consolidates, just say for a week or two, right? So we get a nice period of little consolidation like we saw right down here. Then we can see this again, right? So we get consolidation and then increase, jump on up to 393, and then we're all set. So I think the takeaway here is the fact that we should likely see the price continue to increase. I think we'll see $4 within about a month. But between now and then, if we don't see a period of consolidation, we're going to see a significant retracement. And it takes a lot longer for coins to bounce back after they've fallen very far versus ones that just have short movements, right? Think about the last time you fell down a set of stairs. Hopefully you can't admit to the fact that you did that, right? But had you just say fallen down a flight of stairs, you can imagine it hurts like hell, right? You're gonna fall all the way down, you're gonna break some bones, maybe you might actually even fracture something, you might be in a wheelchair, neck brace, the whole 9 yards. However, if you just trip down the very last stair and you kind of catch yourself, you might scuff your leg, perhaps you mess up your shoes, I don't know. You can walk it off, right? That's how currency is. It can walk off a short increase followed by a short consolidation period, but it cannot walk off a super strong increase followed by a super strong retrace. In other words, it takes a lot longer. I mean, take a look at Bitcoin. May 19th, that took literally 2 months to recover from. Do you want to see that with this coin here? No, we want to see it go nice and sideways and have some healthy runs. So all in all, that's kind of where we're at. So if you found benefit here today, like and subscribe. If you haven't already, consider joining my Patreon community. I send out signals for every single trade that I take. And I trade about 85% just based on the fact that I'm a very conservative trader and I take profits when I can. We have trading bots, which is a really cool option where you actually get a chance to kind of have 3 profit targets, a trailing stop loss, things you can't enable on these normal exchanges right now, which is crazy to me. Anyways, awesome experience. We got a live chat as well, so feel free to jump in there if you'd like. If not, that's cool. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next video. Take care.